It's the government that guides any changes to rent made by housing associations, and this includes Saffron. They've permitted that all housing associations can raise their rents by CPI plus 1% in the 2021-2022 financial year. Now, one of the reasons for this is because it still wants housing associations to build more affordable homes. And certainly research in this area continues to recommend that building more affordable homes is vital to lifting living standards. CPI stands for Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index is a measure of inflation that's made every month. We are required as a landlord to use September's CPI, which was 0.5%. This means Saffron is permitted to increase rents up to 1.5%. Many rents will be increased by 1.5%. However, we do understand that the pandemic has impacted on many of you, and therefore we will be continuing the approach that we commenced last year to make sure our rent levels remain as affordable for you as possible. This means that we will be continuing to use local housing allowance rates as a cap on rent increases. Local housing allowance rates are used to calculate the level of housing benefit that tenants renting from private landlords can receive, and therefore act as a good guide to affordability. For some of you, this means the increase will be lower than 1.5%. And if your rent is currently higher than local housing allowance, you will not receive an increase this year. If your rent is increasing in any way, it will be explained in your rent letter. The increase applies from the 5th of April 2021. You will receive details of what the change will mean for you in your rent letter, which you'll receive over the next few days. Generally, however, for a 2-bedroom property on average, your rent may increase by £1.28 per week for tenants living in a social rented property, or £1.65 per week for tenants living in an affordable rented property. Please note this relates to the rent increase only. Any impact on your service charges next year will be outlined in your letter. Changes in service charges vary depending on whereabouts you live and your individual tenancy or lease agreement. For some of you, there will be an increase to cover the costs associated with the service provided. If your service charges are increasing, it will be outlined in your letter. Some of you will be aware that new health and safety legislation has led to the installation of new fire doors, and Saffron carrying out inspections while fire doors were being ordered and installed. We've decided that it would be unfair to pass on these costs to you, and therefore any costs for work done as a direct result of new health and safety legislation has been excluded from the service charge. The changes I've talked about create an extra £500,000 of income for Saffron next year. The vast majority of this is from the rent element of the increase. Now, every penny of this increase will be going into improving homes. In the 4 years to 2024, we're planning to invest £23 million in improving existing homes. That's the same amount as in the 9 years to 2020. So although we have received less income than normal at Saffron as a direct result of the pandemic, and this is because we've not been able to get new and existing homes let as quickly as we would have been able to, we're still very much committed to making this investment in improving existing homes. Letters will be arriving in the next few days, and the increase applies from the 5th of April 2021. We do understand that this rent increase comes at a time when the pandemic is very much still with us and impacting on every one of you in a different way. Your rent letter will state what your new rent will be for you. If you do have any concerns or queries about being able to pay your rent once you've received the letter, please contact us by emailing info@saffronhousing.co.uk. safra.co.uk or by calling us on 01508 532 000. There are also a number of organisations who can help you with advice and support. Take good care of yourselves, and you know where we are.